Hey guys, my name's Nairn and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while, specifically since October, but don't worry, I can explain. Basically, it's been a difficult juggle between university, 4 jobs, and a competitive sports team. Putting that into a 7-day week means I don't have a lot of time to do other things. I also hit the ripe old age of 20 and I kind of felt like I had to push myself into the real world and start thinking about doing things that would be kind of useful for my career. However, recently I feel like I've not really had a passion to do anything creative, I guess, and I don't really have any hobbies. I literally finished university a week ago and I have nothing to do apart from work. And YouTube itself, considering I've never really wanted to be a YouTuber, but I've always found making videos fun, and if I'm making and editing videos, I guess that's adding some new skill sets. As I work for a brand ambassador for various companies, however most of the social media stuff I do is normally associated with Facebook and Instagram. I'll put a social media post I've done for a company here. This video actually relates to this journey of trying to find myself and trying to get more into a career-orientated mood and trying to do things that would be helpful for my career. So yeah, today's about stepping into the real world, I guess. So as previously mentioned, I work as a brand ambassador for various companies and I'm always looking for the next opportunity to do something different, I guess. And so it was 4 a.m. I was sitting on Indeed and Total Jobs and I was really bored. It was during Easter break and I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing for the summer, so maybe I should find another job just to keep me going. 4 a.m. doing that, and I came across 2 listings, and one of the listings you had to fill out a form and I was like, it's 4 a.m, I'll just do it tomorrow. Another one was just attach your CV, and off my application went. I applied for this brand ambassador role at this marketing agency. So I also currently work with another marketing agency right now, so I was like, oh well, I can just work for another one and hopefully they'll give me some more work as well. And yeah, little did I know that me attaching my CV and sending the application right on over would lead to me almost being involved in a pyramid scheme. Here's a photo of the listing. It sounded pretty convincing and it sounded pretty good and fun. Unfortunately, that is not what it turned out to be. So I sent away my CV at 4 a.m. and the next day me and my family at Nairn are in town and it's like 2 p.m. and we're just walking, doing some shopping essentially, and I get a phone call from this random number. So I pick up and it's this girl from the company I applied for, and she said, your CV looks perfect, you're definitely the person we're looking for, you have lots of experience in the role. And I was like, yeah, cool. And she was like, would you like to come in for an interview tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, sure, cool. So obviously I was a bit excited about this because the girl on the phone definitely buttered me up. She was like, yeah, you're perfect for the job. So I didn't even bother applying for the other one I already planned on doing at that point, because I was just excited to go to this interview and kind of talk about stuff I've done and hopefully get another job, which sounded really cool. And essentially this girl told me she was going to hire me off my CV alone, and how stupidly correct I was. So I get the follow-up email and basically tells me the office is on Sauchiehall Street, and I work beside Sauchiehall Street for one of my other jobs, so I was like, I know where it is, it's local. And then that night before the interview, I decided to do some research on the company. That's always useful to do when you're applying for a new job, so you can kind of just like put in some facts. And I literally could not find anything. I found a very basic bone structure website which had like a few blog posts on it with like the title by someone called Admin, who I assume that is them, and nothing really else on it, just saying it was a new company in Glasgow, and so I just assumed at this point it was a startup or something. So the next day I arrived at the interview and I got these offices, so I'm like, okay, this is legit, like there's other offices in here of other businesses that I recognize from around Glasgow. So I get there, I walk into this office and it is the barest thing I've ever seen. It's like all white, there's some black plastic chairs, the reception lady sits like here, and there is a single full plant sitting there looking very sad. Why is this office just like plain white with nothing in it? I just walk in, the lady smiles and she can take my name and she just hands me a piece of paper that has some details I need to fill out based on my previous employment and experience, and they actually asked me how much I got paid in my last job, which is sketchy-ish, but I didn't really care. I was like, oh, whatever. Data mining is what they were doing though. I really didn't know why I had to fill this out, because if they had read my CV and knew who I was based off of that, I don't know why I was having to repeat my employment experience if they had already been sent that. But I filled it out anyways. So after the reception lady gives me a piece of paper, she goes back to phoning people in for interviews. And it's really sketchy because The exact thing she said to me on the phone was, "Oh, you're perfect for the job. We've looked at your CV, this is everything." She was saying to every single person she phoned and booked in for an interview. Clearly, they might just be saying that to everyone. So I'm sitting next to this girl and I asked, "What do you do?" And she worked in fast food. Obviously, anyone that had any employment experience was perfect for this job. So I go into the interview, I shake the guy's hand, and honestly, I have been in some pretty bad interviews, including my first interview at McDonald's where I failed and flopped really badly. Basically, I go in, I don't really know what the brands they work with or what they work with in general, so I'm kind of lost at this, but I just begin speaking and he asked me like 3 questions that were on a sheet. When you go into an interview, it really should be a dialogue between you and the interviewer. That's like just good interview practice and skills. But it was very much a monologue. He would ask me a question and I would I would just answer the question. And he wouldn't like ask me anything more about that, then he would just move on. I remember one moment where he asked me about what I've enjoyed in my previous jobs. And essentially, I told him that, oh, sometimes I get to supervise the party bus that goes around all the student halls for the nightclub I work at. It's really fun. And he literally just looked at me, the most unimpressed look I've ever seen in my life. So I was like, great. So I'm quickly dismissed from the office, and in my head I'm like, right, I'm never walking back in here again. That went awful. So a few hours later, I'm back at the flat with my flatmate, and I get a phone call, and they're like, "Oh, how do you think your interview went?" And I was like, "It was okay, I guess." Waiting to reject, and they're like, "Oh, we'd like you to come in tomorrow for an observation day. Are you available?" And they told me, "Come in for 8:45," and hung up. And I was like, "Okay, dokie." Then I got a follow-up email saying, "Oh, come in for 9:15." So I was a bit confused on that, but I came in for 8:45 anyways. And I put on my best shirt. And yeah, I just arrived at the office ready for this observation day. So I arrived at the office and there was just like music blaring from this other room, and apparently they were doing like an empowerment employee dance party. Dumb. And I also had to sign a waiver saying I would not be getting paid for this observation. And as soon as people leave this empowerment dance session, this guy comes out, starts shaking everyone's hand, and he asks my name, and I say, "Oh, I'm Nairn." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I phoned you yesterday and it was me on the phone," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Then it clicked. He wasn't the person that interviewed me, so why would he be offering me to come in today on the phone? I also kind of thought at this point that how my interview went didn't really matter, or how anyone's interview really went didn't matter, because it seemed like they were just inviting back everyone. So after that, me and this girl get invited into the room, and we are introduced to the guy that interviewed me the previous day, this lady, and 2 of the brand ambassadors that already work there. So this French lady that we got paired with, who was going to be like our supervisor for the day, introduced herself. And they told us we were meeting and dealing with a client today. Meeting and dealing with a client, those words specifically. It all sounded fair, and later on in the day they would sit down with us somewhere and tell us how the business was going to run and what it was going to be like if we were employed there by the end of the day. So I assumed that we would be doing stuff in the office, but obviously we were going to meet the client. So we leave the office and we begin walking. I don't really know where we're walking to. The French lady starts asking us questions about ourselves. Like at the start, these questions were normal, but then he got very like, not invasive, but very like nosy, I guess, about like literally every single thing we had done. As I say again, data mining. When I told her I was a brand ambassador for another company, and I kind of told her about my job for that, and she kind of became aware of me and kind of had a negative attitude towards it, which I didn't really get at the time, but by the end of the day this became very clear as to why she had a negative attitude about that and my previous experience in brand ambassador work. We somehow walked to the train station and she tells us, "Oh, we're going to Hamilton," which is a town like not that far away. She's like, "The ticket is like £4, are you happy to pay it?" And I was like, yes, but also no, but I just said yes because I was like, I'm not going to be complicated, it's like £4. Even though that I have worked for companies before and I know that they pay your travel if it's like part of the job. Like the job that I applied for was in Glasgow. Anyways, on the train ride there, she begins to tell us some stories, and she explained some more about the company, which I'll read out to you in a bit because I actually have all the sheets of paper that I kept just for this video. She told us that she went to my university for an exchange semester when she was in France, and told me she studied the same course as me. And at the time it was convincing, but now when I look back, I realised the reason she asked us so many questions at the start was because so she could make up a past to basically personalise the conversation a bit, so she could relate to us a bit better and discuss that with us. and to basically sell us a lie. She did not attend my university at all. There was no way. And I guess maybe it was to convince me that I could follow in her footsteps and work for this great company, this great opportunity. She also told us that she had worked for the company since October, and she told us about her first day and how she walked into the Glasgow office and it was magical and she knew this would be an amazing opportunity for her. However, I had done my research and I knew from the little information that was on their website, the company hadn't existed in Glasgow for more than a month. So at this point, I kept my mouth shut, but I was just like, okay, like, she kind of seems like she's lying a little bit. She also told us another story about how in France she was a hotel manager, but she didn't like the way she was treated. She didn't like the relationship between the owners and the staff and how it was very much of a master-slave relationship, and she didn't really like the unequal work opportunity that was there. This story is super important to the end of this pyramid scheme. Each of these little things that she's doing is setting up to convince us to join the company or the family. Here's the first piece of paper. These are some of the notes I had to take on the train when she told us about the company. Specifically, I've actually got it all here as well. It was an outsourcing face-to-face marketing company, and they were the middlemen. They had worked with Apple and Virgin, who are massive companies. They did exhibitions, conferences and charity work, something very legitimate at the time. How can a new startup company work with massive corporations like Apple and Virgin straight away when the Glasgow Marketing Agency has only existed for 1 month? Throughout my confusion, I decided to shut my mouth because I just know at this point she's just reading out a script that someone has told her, which is ingrained in her memory, which she's now telling us. This is a good one. Their business model works on the law of averages, and explained it in the scenario that if you had 100 opportunities to score a goal and Cristiano Ronaldo, who's apparently a famous footballer, only had one, you had more chance of scoring the goal than him despite his experience and skills. I generally disagree with that notion. I am terrible at football, and I'm sure if I was given 100 shots, still not going to happen, mate, still. She then continues to draw this model for us. I don't know if you can see this, but it is called the draw bell curve. The draw bell curve basically explains that if they chat to 100 customers a day, and normally 3 to 5 people out of those 100 will buy their product. With the 20 brand ambassadors that they apparently have, each day the companies that they work for get 60 new clients at minimum. Sounds great, that's great, that's a great way to run your business. Bravo, no wonder. So finally, the train arrives at Hamilton train station, and we walk for a little bit. We get to the front of this really sad shopping centre, and then the brand ambassadors that were there start setting up this little booth with a stool. Then they unravel this banner, and it's for a deaf children's charity. And then there's a notebook there as well with the drawbell curve on it and a iPad. Deaf children charity, notebook, iPad. We're ready to start business today. She then tells me and the other girl that has come with me for this observation day to take our notebooks out, which we had been told to bring, by the way, and write down every single reason someone gives to not stop on the street and speak to them. She also said that me and this other girl weren't allowed to speak because it was a competition, and also we weren't allowed to speak to the brand ambassadors either, and that was the rules. So we had to observe these two brand ambassadors and the lady attempt to get people who are passing by the shopping centre to sign up to a direct debit scheme which gave like £10 a month to this charity for deaf children. These brand ambassadors knew nothing about the charity at all. Just listing off like a few facts from a sheet, one of them was like, oh, most of them get bullied in schools, and it's not their fault. Even if anyone is doing charity work, and I've done charity work before, you're supposed to know about the charity and at least done some research on it before you start going to members of the general public and hammering them to donate to your charity. Anyways, after an hour of doing this, she looks at our notepad, just nods, and she asks us to write down the physical behaviours of people that would stop and people that wouldn't stop. Weird. I also forgot to mention every single time there was an interaction between a brand ambassador and a member of the public, they had to go right down on the drawbell curve if they were one of 3 people, which was negative people, indifferent people and impulsive buyer people. So after another hour of me standing there having to write this, she takes her notepad, nods and says, right, write down 10 strengths and 10 weaknesses about you. And at this point I was like, this is so not for me, this is not what I came here to do. This isn't how brand ambassador works. But I want to see what this business plan is, and you know what, like, I'm not really doing anything the rest of my day. So, and hopefully this will end soon and we'll actually get to go back to the office and discuss this. And at this point I just stopped trying, so I wrote down 10 strengths and 3 weaknesses. And she was just like, okay dokie. And then right after that, the other girl I was with, she left. She was gone. She had decided she had enough. The excuses list, you can see here, not really sure, it's probably not going to zoom in or thing, but these are just a list of things. We had to write down direct and indirect marketing examples to waste another hour of our time while they beg people for money on the street. And I'm being very clear at this moment that I was not trying anymore. Like, this was like me doing the absolute basics. I didn't really care at this point if I got a job or not. However, I didn't realize at the time that me not trying was actually what they wanted, but I didn't realize that at the time. So after another hour of this, she tells me to go on my lunch break. Such a lunch break, considering that I'm not getting paid for this. But then she then goes and tells me on the hour I have for lunch that I need to go write down a business plan and come back and show her it done. But yeah, I return after my lunch break with my amazing business plan. Where is the business plan? There's too many sheets of paper I filled out that day. But here it is, business plan. There's some nice things. And basically this is a terrible business plan for a terrible business. It even involves the TikTok app, which is just a joke. And guess what? She loves my business plan because it's dumb and stupid. And yeah, you will find out why that's great later. She then sits me down on a bench and she says, right, Nairn, I'm going to tell you the business plan. I'm going to tell you about our company, what we do, and how this all works. And I'm like, finally, yes, I'm going to find out why this is such an amazing opportunity. The company's business breakdown. You can probably see that from here, but I drew a triangle over it to prove that it was a pyramid scheme. But yeah, we're just going to go into that now. Here's the T sisters. So apparently there's 5 levels to their business, and these brand ambassadors who were starting off earn on average £250 a week, despite the fact that I'd been there for around 6 hours and not seen one person sign up to this direct debit for the charity. Lies. So I'm thinking the hourly rate for this must be amazing if it's £250 a week, and they're not actually selling anything. 2 to 6 weeks, they'll move up the next stage on the pyramid, the tower. She explained it, but it's a pyramid. So they move to this one, and they get £400 a week on average with this when they move into being a leader. I actually think that's what she was technically. I highly doubt that she was earning £400 a week from this. Within 10 months, they will become the owner of their own company, and the possibilities of earning as much money as possible are endless. And I actually got told that this is just a repeated business, so when one person becomes an owner, they just open up a new one, which is why there was nothing on the website, because apparently there's just multiple of these pyramid schemes going around. And you know what, the pyramid scheminess just gets even better. She goes on to tell me the 3 company principles. And I've got them right here for you, right here on this sheet of paper. And we actually know that I didn't write this because my handwriting is terrible. My handwriting is on the back down here. This is her beautiful handwriting that I drew 2 lines on to make a pyramid. First principle of this amazing marketing agency: no seniority, everyone is equal. Which comes back to the very start where she told us the story about how she was a hotel manager and she didn't like the inequality between the owners of the hotel and the staff. So basically, that was to get us in the mood for this equal workplace where everyone was on the same terms and everyone was equal. Number 2, 100% promotion within. So basically, you can't just be hired and get to level 4. No, everyone starts at level 1 and works their way up, and anyone can become a boss, business babe. And you're about to figure out the big thing that does make this a pyramid scheme. 100% performance pay. Effort equals money, commission based. commission based. These brand ambassadors who had been here for, I think it was now 7 hours at this point, had literally not earned anything the entire day, and had actually lost money because they had to pay for their own train tickets there. I also asked her, what is this commission? Because it must be great commission if these people are going to waste your entire time on the chance of getting one sale. And she told me I wasn't allowed to know that. Basically, I had to become part of the family to know that. Pyramid scheme. Basically, these people are working for free, but we're about to find out why they wanted me to join so much. And yeah, so I decided I'm going to do her last task. And her last task was essentially explain why you think the 3 principles can be good for you if you get the job, if I get the job, let's be real, the company and the client. So basically, I had to discuss why they were good, and I had to make up reasons as to why performance pay is great. I told her I can earn what I want, no limits. The company does not lose out on lazy or unproductive staff. You could literally have the best salespeople in the world, and it literally is all about what you're selling. The client gets the most from their money, because those people that were working there all day get paid nothing because they didn't get any sales, but that client is paying the big boss. So this guy at the top of this pyramid is earning all the dollar. I do this, and yeah, I come back and I try to ask her more questions, but she's just not having it at this point. Basically told me that, yeah, you'll find out more when we get back to the office and stuff. But like, I was done at this point, I couldn't be bothered. And I asked to go to the bathrooms. And I just basically decided there that I'd wasted 7/8 hours of my day doing nothing but standing in the street. And it was actually a really sunny day where I could have been in a beer garden with my friends. I know I'm leaving, but I don't know if I'm just going to, basically shopping center had 2 entrances. So I could walk out the other entrance and just never see these people in my life. Or I could go back and say, thanks for the opportunity today, but it wasn't for me. I don't know why I decided that I would go back and say goodbye and just say it wasn't for me. So essentially I returned to the stall thing, and the French lady, supervisor lady, was not there, and I go to the brand ambassadors who have not been allowed to speak to at this point. I tell them, where is she? And she's like, oh, they went on their lunch break. I tell the girl and this guy, I was like, look, this just isn't for me. Can you tell her thank you for the opportunity? And I'm just going to head home now. Instead, they actually just begged me to stay and just said, oh, can you wait until she gets back? And can you tell her, because we don't want to tell her. And basically, what they wanted me to do was stay and wait for her to come back to explain I was leaving for 2 reasons. Foremost, if the French supervisor convinced me to join the company, because they'd already lost out on their girl, so it was just me that was left. They would have moved up the imaginary pyramid. So basically, they would have moved up onto the next role because there would be someone underneath them and newer, which is how this thing works. They basically want to receive this promotion title, which is meaningless and didn't mean anything for them because they're so roped into this. And number 2, because despite this whole thing being about equal opportunity, the reason that they abided by these strict rules of no communication, because they obviously they have a way of doing things to recruit their new members, to try to butter them up. There's obviously a system, obviously as I've explained before, she talked about the inequality and how it's great to have an equal workplace, but it's not really about that. They were basically scared of her. They were scared that this lady who was one step above them on the tower, the pyramid, was going to take this amazing opportunity away from them, where they could be their own CEOs and earn so much money and own a business. We're afraid that by giving her the bad news I had left, that would also be detrimental to their jobs which they weren't getting paid for. This is slave labor technically, based on commission, which doesn't actually exist. Then I realised the reason that she didn't like me to start when I talked about my previous experience is that they don't want smart people for this role. These companies want to take advantage of disadvantaged people who are not that bright, who may be in dead-end jobs, who think, oh my god, this is a great experience, I could be my own business person, earn lots of money and get myself out of this dead-end job I have. All the money that they should be getting as an hourly wage actually just goes to the top dog, and they get nothing for that unless they make a sale for this commission that apparently exists. And I really, really doubt that those brand ambassadors got paid a single penny for that entire day. I just told them straight there and forward that I didn't want to be part of what I knew was a pyramid scheme, and I was going to leave. But like, this is not good. And I said, yeah, you're wasting your own time too. And they literally just looked confused and said to me, but you're missing out on a great opportunity. A great opportunity I was missing out on. Apparently I missed out. In 10 months from now, I could own my own business. I could be rich. This happened, I'm filming this a month later. I would already be on stage 2 of the pyramid. I went home that day and I actually applied for the other role, which I didn't apply for at the start because I thought I had this one. And I got an interview 2 days later and I got a job with them. So there is a bright side to this pyramid scheme story. So you'll notice I haven't named and shamed the company. I'm not about that. I've done a previous video on a company that really kind of screwed me over and I did not name and shame them. How I always say that if you are that interested, for example, if you're applying for a brand ambassador job in Glasgow and you're a bit wary of it, you can always give me a DM on Twitter or Instagram and ask what the company is, and I can tell you if it's the same one that did this to me. I really don't want anyone else's time to be wasted. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked this video and made it this far, please give it a thumbs up. I assume that you subscribe, because who wouldn't subscribe for this great pyramid scheme content? I'll see you in our time. Peace out.